Over the last 2 centuries, many a battle has been fought against caste, a defining feature of India's public life. These battles abound in tragedy and farce, courage and subterfuge, bigotry and humanity. These are the words that open Manoj Mitta's book, Caste Pride.
There's a striking similarity between what happened in the US after the abolition of slavery and what happened in India after the abolition of untouchability. What was noticed in US was that the sudden abolition of a legalized form of oppression led to a pushback from white supremacists, and that led to southern states in the US adopting segregation laws, or what are called Jim Crow laws, to replace the previous system of slavery. Now, in India, what was noticed was that you had this system of untouchability abolished in 1950 at the time of the promulgation of Constitution, and there was a great deal of rhetoric about equality in the form of various provisions of the Constitution. And then in 1954, we even had the Untouchability Offences Act as a sequel to the abolition of untouchability. So in this environment, there was a great deal of assertion of equality on the part of Dalits, and there was also the presence of Ambedkar at the time. So there was a slow resentment that was building up against this assertion of equality on the part of those who were previously considered untouchables. And all this came to the surface in a very dramatic and very violent form in 1968 in a place called Kilvenmani in Tamil Nadu. That really set the template for violence, and later it was seen that it also set the template for impunity. When I say violence, I mean mass violence targeting a set of vulnerable Dalits in their hamlet or wherever.
Towards the end of 1968, on the holy occasion of Christmas, India recorded its first instance of mass violence, targeting those it had ostensibly stopped treating as untouchables. Sometime after 10 p.m., in a remote village called Kilvenmani in the Tanjavur district of the Madras state, a mob burnt alive 42 Harijans, mostly women and children. Never before had there been a situation where so many Harijans were eliminated in a single mob attack and rendered so vulnerable that they could hardly offer resistance or act in self-defense. Dominant castes weaponized a deeply entrenched prejudice to perpetrate mass destruction. Neither Gandhi nor Ambedkar nor Nehru had ever encountered such an aggravated form of caste prejudice. In this most brutal avatar of untouchability, India had crossed a new threshold of cruelty.
The whole point of my book was to focus on the intersection of law and caste, because this was one critical aspect that did not get the attention it deserved. A great deal was, of course, written on has, of course, been written on caste, and a great deal has been written on law in its various uh, manifestations. But on the intersection of law and caste, there's been little or nothing. And this is in contrast to the situation in the US, where on this corresponding aspect of the intersection of law and race, so much work, so much research has been done that the corpus of knowledge that they have on the legal aspects of race is even in their school textbooks. Whereas in India, even university dons know little about the aspects I have dealt with in this book. So by default, there is a wealth of new material on the legal aspects of caste. I say default simply because till my book came out in 2023, there's been no serious effort to deal with these aspects. The only exception is that some decades ago, there was an American scholar uh, by the name of Mark Galanter, who did pioneering work on this aspect of law and caste. I owe a great deal of my inspiration to him. I had the uh, good fortune of even interacting with him, and he was very happy that um, that I will be going deeper into aspects of law and caste, because he felt that what he did in the course of Fulbright scholarship in 50s and 60s when he visited in India, when he did his field work and so on, was essentially scratching the surface, and there was so much more to be done. And he was disappointed that there was no follow up to the pioneering work that he had done. So it was in that spirit that I undertook this work. Having said that, I am, of course, in no way undermining or discounting the importance of the social movements that were, led by uh, people like Narayan Guru or Ambedkar or, you know, Ayankali, different parts of the country, Phule. Some of those social movements also had a legal dimension. For instance, you know how Ambedkar's struggle in Mahad led to you know a prolonged litigation on whether the caste Hindus were justified in blocking blocking untouchables from accessing water from Chowdar Lake. And there was also this instance of um, caste Hindus resorting to violence against untouchables being prosecuted and punished within a few months. So there were these aspects that somehow did not get as much attention as they deserved. There was, of course, some good work done by Anand Teltumde on this aspect, Mahad Satyagraha. But there were so many other aspects that did not get the attention that they deserved, aspects of law and caste. So I focus very clearly, very consciously on this unexplored or underexplored aspect of caste.